What's up, you guys? Hope you all are doing well. So this is another end of the week review. We are on a week 10, and as you can see here, the account is still on a 0.5% drawdown. I think this was also close to where we were at the end of week 9. So we've been kind of like just been playing around this level for some time now. And on this week, I got 4 trades. The first trade was on Monday, which was a winner. And then I got 2 minor losses on Tuesday. And then I also got another loss on Thursday. Now, this was a bigger loss that actually put me into 0.5 drawdown. And as you can see here, these are the trades that I took. So yeah, that was my week, closing on a negative $11 for this week. So let's just jump into TradingView and see the actual trades themselves. So looking at the chart, this is how our week looks like. This was a trade on Monday. This was the trade on Tuesday. And as you can see, there's another trade right here that I have hidden, but I will show it later. But one thing that you can notice here is I'm having 2 winning trades, but on the results I showed only 1 winning trade. So yeah, let's see what actually happened during this week. So the first trade that I took was a trade that I took on Monday, and this was a trade over here. This was essentially my continuation setup after price breaking on this point of interest. It continued to push to the downside during pre-New Year. And then it left this imbalance that gave me, that made me believe that this order block is valid and it will hold. And that is where I actually placed my trade. Now, this was my entry, that was my stop loss, and the target is usually 1 to 3R. But I did not get 1 to 3R. I actually got only 0.5 because when price moved down here, and then it started to retrace upwards, that was actually where I got out. That was actually where I got out. So I got out of this trade on that candle over there. And in my mind, the reason why I did that at that time was because for the past 2-3 weeks, Eurodollar has been struggling to hit 3R. Most trades, if they push a lot, they usually push to 1 to 2, and as you can see here, that is exactly what price did. Price actually from the entry came all the way down to 1 to 2, and then it started pushing to the upside. So that is the reason why when I saw this, I decided to close the trade. This was actually kind of like me reacting to what the market has been doing previous weeks. But was this how my strategy required me to handle this trade? No. The way that my strategy required me to enter to manage this trade was I had to wait for this, I had to wait on that, and I had to wait for that, because I was only, in terms of how I trade, I was only allowed to get out if this move to the downside would have broken this low. So if price would have pushed all the way down and broke that low, then yes, I was supposed to move my stop loss. But because price didn't do that, it didn't come all the way down and take out this low, I wasn't supposed to move my stop loss. My stop loss was supposed to still remain above these higher highs over there. So I was supposed to sit and wait through all this, and as you can see with this trade, it was actually a clean 1 to 3%. But I only got out over here with a 0.5, which is 1%. So yeah, that was on Monday. And then coming to Tuesday, as you can see, London session, the price didn't give me much. Even during pre-New York, there was nothing much. So I decided to sit and wait to see what price will look like after the PMI. I believe this job opening on Tuesday. So after this red folder news event, if I zoom in here, you can see that price already came down and retested on this order block, which was my point of interest, and then we broke this high, which is a break of structure. So that means this was another continuation trade setup for me, and I had this small imbalance over there that made this order block valid for me to take a trade, and that is where I actually took my trade. So price moved a little bit to the upside, and then it started reversing to the downside. Now this exit was the right thing for me to do. The difference between this exit on this Monday trade and the difference between the exit on Tuesday, you can see that price already from the entry it pushed to the downside, and then we broke above this high. So that means this low was actually a strong low. So this was a proper management according to how I am trading. So I got out, I think it was around $14 loss, which was not pretty bad because we already had $50 gain on that trade. So that was trade number one on Tuesday. And then there was a second trade that I took because, as I always say, usually for me, an exit is an entry of another trade. So this was trade number two on the same day. Now, as you can see, again, this push to the upside and then immediate reversal to the downside, that was actually my reversal setup. So that was a market structure shift. That was the sweep of liquidity. This was a market structure shift, and this order block was valid due to this huge area of imbalance over here. So that was my entry point. This was my exit point. And again, same thing happened over there. Price triggered me into this price action, and then it started to push to the downside. So that means this low over here is actually a strong low. It shouldn't be broken into, but as you can see, price came down, went all the way up again, took me out, and then it continued to move to the downside a little bit before pushing to all the way to the upside. Now this was again another trade which was supposed to be a 1 to 3, but again I got out of this trade with a minor loss. And that is a good thing because you always want to make your losses small and your profits big. And this is where I got stopped out. I think it was a point, I think it was 14 cents here. So overall, even after these two trades, I was still in profit based on the results that I got on Monday. Now, there was no trade for me on Wednesday, and then another trade came on Thursday. Now on Thursday, you can see that again during London session we had this impulsive move to the upside and price continued to push towards the highs, and then after that in pre-New York we had this break to the downside, leaving me to see this point here as a sweep of liquidity and that point down here as a market structure shift. And with this imbalance, this was where this order block was made valid for me to enter the trade. Now, unfortunately for me on this trade, again, I got stopped out with a full 0.5% loss, of which it's a little bit annoying. I got stopped out right here. Right there. So that was where my original stop loss was supposed to be, was at, not supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to be there because according to the way I trade, again, my stop loss was supposed to be on above these highs over there. But for whatever reason, I thought I should put my stop loss above this high. And yeah, price came all the way down, triggered me into the entry, and then pushed to the upside. I actually took out this minor high and then played a lot on this this zone over here, and then it started to push to the downside for actually a 1 to 3R. So this was the bigger loss. Now this was a full 0.5% loss that actually put me down again into drawdown. Yeah, so these are the 4 trades that I took this week. there were no missed trades this week. I didn't miss any trade. I took all the trades that were available for me to take during this week. So I think that is progress on my end. So with that being said, the thing that I am taking away with me to the next week is this week has been a little bit bittersweet. Yes, in a sense that I did see some progress. I've been seeing a little bit of progress because the problem that I had initially before this week was the fact that I wasn't taking the trades. Like, the trades opportunity will open up, but I will be afraid to take the trade. So I had a lot of missed trade, especially on the first month and the beginning of second month. But the last 2 weeks, I have seen that I am pushing myself to take the trades. So for example, this week, I have taken all the trades. These 4 trades that I took were the only tradable opportunity that my strategy presented for me in this week. But as I am solving the problem of taking the trades, I'm realizing another problem now. It's is rising up. So right now, the problem that I'm having is paying attention and actually holding on to the trades according to what my strategy is telling me. Because if you look at this week, out of these 4 trades, only 2 trades were losses, and they were minor losses. And 2 of these other trades were actually supposed to be big winners, because all of these trades were supposed to be a full 3R. So I was supposed to gain 3R and probably lost 1%. So I was supposed to be like 5 hours up, but instead I'm ending up being 0.5% down again this week. And all that was simply because I wasn't following my strategy to the letter. And that is something that I am taking on to next week. So next week and the weeks after that, it is not just about taking the trades, because now I can take the trades. But now the problem that I'm having is just taking the trades and following the plan as the plan is instructing me to follow. So that is what I will be doing for this coming week, which is making sure that I am taking all my trades exactly as the opportunities are presented to me, and also making sure that as I'm taking those trades, when I'm in the trades and managing those trades, I have to make sure that I still follow the rules of my strategy. And also something else that I've noticed this week is the fact that my trades are coming all the way down to 1 to 3, because since March and April, price was not doing that. It wasn't like, if I will take a trade, most of the time it will just stop me out at 1 to 1 or 1 to 2. But right now, price is actually moving into 1 to 3. And I think despite of having the war, I think the biggest thing that was affecting this strategy and the price action was also the fact that the US government, and we forgot about this, most of us, since the war started, we forgot that the US government was actually still closed. But they just started operations again. So I am interested and curious to see how market will be moving for next week. But I think as long as I continue to discipline myself, things will be better moving forward. Because after all, I have taken 28 trades. And out of those 28 trades, with all the missed trades and all the losses I have taken, I'm actually just 0.5% in drawdown, which is actually a pretty good sign. That means my trading strategy isn't the trading strategy is not a problem. The problem is just in my head. As you can see with these trades that I took this week, I was supposed to be almost 2.5% up on my challenge already just this week, but I am not, because of the psychological issues that I have had to deal with. So those are the things that I'll be taking for next week, and those are the things that I'll be forcing myself to discipline myself on those things. And yeah, that's it for this week. Until next week, remember, process over emotions every time. Take care.